So we say a lot of things, don't we? So when you start with the premise that when you are connected to who you really are, you are powerful. So let's just use that as the basis from which we move forward. And now we want to say to you that what you give your attention to is what you're attracting into your experience. And now we want to say something to you, and you will remember it all of this day, that the difference, the only difference worth talking about between the non-physical you that we described as your inner being, who is aware of you at all times and with you in every moment, and you, the only difference between the two of you that we really want you to remember forever is that your inner being does not look back. Your inner being just keeps being the forward-most version of you, not looking back in any justification, in any comparison, in any defense, just bees this wonderful culmination of life, looking forward to. Now here's where you come in. You're in your body and you're exposed to contrast. That's a good thing. Doesn't feel so good sometimes to you, but it is a good thing. So as you're exposed to this contrast, knowing what you don't want and therefore knowing what you do want, whether you can speak it or not, and launching these rockets of desire, you are creating a vibrational reality. And the reason we call it a vibrational reality is because it takes a little bit of time for those thoughts to turn to things. It's a vibrational reality that is perfection by your choices, because you put all of the ingredients, all of the elements of it forward, and they've been collected by the law of attraction. They are in what we are calling a vibrational reality. This is a vibrational reality that is so real that we named it the vortex, wrote 2 books about it. We want you to accept the realness of this, and we want you to know that your inner being is there with all of that. So picture it this way. All of the ingredients that you have been finding through life, all the yes, I prefer that, and wouldn't that be wonderful, and I really like that, and I will look forward to that, and I know what I don't want, I know what I do want. All of that sifting and sorting that you have done for far beyond what you recall from this physical life experience is in this vibrational reality, and your inner being is all over it, knowing every bit of it. And what that means is, now this is new, we have not said this to you before, but this is your new empowering information. This will take you into the stratosphere in terms of what other people are watching around you. This will put you into a category of creating that is so sublime that others will wonder what your magic is. And it's not magic, it's just a productive application of the law of attraction. It's utilizing the power that is within you to focus it in the direction of the things that you care about, things for yourself personally, things for others whom you care about, even things that are on a global scale or a universal scale. You have power that you have not been utilizing, and we think that it's a good time to begin utilizing it. So here is this vibrational reality that you have gathered, and you've gathered it incrementally, and let's call it full of ingredients. All right, let's have fun with this. So when you are out ahead of it, meaning you're in that place of non-resisted thought, maybe you're swimming, maybe you're making love, maybe you're meditating, maybe you're basking in the deliciousness of something, and as you are in that state of non-resistance, these ingredients present themselves to you in the form of an idea or an impulse, a powerful idea or impulse. Now you don't know it's powerful because it's just sort of like a simple thought. Stop at 7-Eleven. Or it's just a simple thought. I think I'll take a run, or I think I'll go to the beach, or I think I'll call my mom, or. But what we want you to know about it is, because the ingredients are there, and because your inner being is there with those ingredients, and because your inner being knows where you are in relationship to everything that you want, when you get into that state of pure positive energy, when you get into that state momentarily, it might be 10 seconds long, of non-resisted thought, you have access to what your inner being knows about everything that's in there. And then an idea occurs to you, and when you follow that impulse, This time and next time and next time and next time, you begin to discover your true power. That's where the ideas that matter most come from. Now, they've always been there for you. Those ingredients have always been there for you, and your inner being has always been focusing them in to thoughts that you could receive, but you can't unless you're in a non-resisted place, because you have to match up with what that thought is, and that thought is pure positive energy. Oh, we want you to feel the power of your vortex. We want you to reap the benefits of all that you have been living. We want you to find the timing, this moment in time timing. We want you to know that when you tune into that the impulse, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next will come. So, you following that? You sort of kind of believe it? When we say the easiest way for you to have non-resistant thought is to get out ahead of it. Oh, we'll say it to you even in a more blunt way. The easiest way for you to have non-resistant thought is to hang out with a new person that you don't know. The less you know about them, the less resistant thought is within you. Oh, you're a stranger. I love you. Oh, you killed your entire family? Oh. We're just playing with you a little bit here, but we want you to just for a moment try to feel the power of this non-resistant thought. So we've been saying recently, what you want to do is get out ahead of it. You want to get out ahead of your thoughts, and people want to get out ahead of it. They just don't know what that means. And we gave one example already. Segment intending means I'm in a new segment. New people just walked into the room, and do you know that our segment just changed? Because they have no idea what we've been talking about. And so the energy of the room has just shifted. Now, not a problem to all of us, because we're in the vortex. Yes, we're in that empowerment. Might be a little while for them to catch up with it, but the segment did just shift, and therefore you are going to notice a little repetition that you wouldn't have noticed before had new people not walked into the room. Following what we're getting at? Getting out ahead of it. Don't want confusion on the part of those that haven't been here. So when you get into your automobile, it's a new segment. When a new person joins you at the dinner table, a new segment begins. And if you will take just a moment, we're talking about a few seconds to acknowledge, new segment, and what I intend is. Because if you get out ahead of it, what I intend is to have fun. If you're out ahead of it, even though somebody who joined your dinner table who was in a bad mood and wasn't planning on having any fun, if you got out ahead of it with your intent to have fun, you're more likely to have fun even though he isn't. This is powerful stuff, because we love you so much, you are knee-jerkers. You have knee-jerk reactions to life, and that holds you in mundane creation. It holds you in less powerful creation. It doesn't let you feel your absolute power. Now, here's another thing. We're going to stay with you for a little while on this conversation until we can feel that you're grasping it, because this process, you've heard the words before, daydream. Do you remember when you were kids? Before you were responsible, before you felt responsible, before you were resistant, before you were defensive. Some of you can remember those moments in time. Some of them you've been living recently, but it's a little snatch of time where somehow you're not resistant in thought, and your mind is just receiving the ingredients of your vortex. They're putting themselves together with the tutelage or tutorialage, with the help of your inner being, who knows where you stand in relationship to everything that you want, and knows what the ingredients that you've put into your vortex is, so knows what the path of least resistance is for you to receive a thought. So do you think that you're here to create your own reality? You are. But do you think that the reason that you are here to create your own reality is that when you create your own reality, you will like it better? Well, that's one reason. But it isn't the reality that you are creating that you are here about. It's the thrill of reality creating that you're here about. It's the thrill of lining up with your true power and watching what you desire flow to you through the power of your own focus. It's the journey. Now, you've heard that your whole life. The joy is in the journey. Almost everybody is saying it, and nobody knows even what they mean when they're talking about the joy is in the journey. But we want you to know that what we mean by the joy is in the journey is that you did a lot of the journey when you knew what you didn't want and therefore knew what you did want. And you say, well, that was not all that joyful. And we say, well, it was to your inner being, because you were identifying who you are. When someone was rude, you said, I like nicer. When somebody was hateful, you want more love. When somebody is diminished in some way, you want upliftment. When someone is sick, you want well. When someone's confused, you want clarity. When it's you, even more. You've been isolating and identifying, and there is this extraordinary grouping of ingredients that are the making of an ecstatic life experience for you. But you got to find a way to be in the vibrational vicinity of it. Now, we've been telling you this story in lots of different ways. We've been saying to you, step one is you ask. That's the contrast part of it. Know what I don't want, ask for what I do want, whether you put it in words or not. Step two is, that's the source energy part of it. That's your inner being part of it. That's the vortex part of it. That's the gathering of the cooperative components part of it. Step two, when you ask, it is given. It's in vibrational form, and you say, I don't want it to be in vibrational form. I want it to be out where I can see it. I'd like to park it in my garage. I'd like to take it to my bed. I would like to go to the movies with it. I don't want this vibrational reality creation. And we say, but it is that way in the beginning. And so if you will accept that the ingredients are there, and that you will be guided, you will be led, you'll be called, you are being guided, you are being led, you are being called to your path of least resistance. But what we're saying to you here today is, you've got some whopping resistance going on, because you have played the objective game so much that you hardly ever put yourself in a position where you can receive an impulse that's on the path of least resistance and feel the empowerment of your inner being about it. So as we're moving forward in this day, we'll play some of this with you if you want to. We want this to just not be something that sort of is intellectually satisfying, or even something that makes some sense to you if you've been studying the law of attraction. We want it to be something that feels real to you. We want it to be something that you say all day long, as Esther often does, ooh, I've got that magical thing going. Because if you take 10 seconds here and 10 seconds there and 10 seconds here to let yourself dream free, if you will allow yourself to just dream free. Esther's been playing this game. We'll tell you some of it. We'll tell you some of the amazing things that have been happening as a result of it. But here's one really extraordinary manifestation that came about as a result of Esther hearing what we're saying about daydream. And by daydream, we mean you're not asleep. By daydream, we mean you're awake. And by daydream, we mean it hasn't manifested yet. It's still a dream. And by daydream, we mean you're in your day, you're wide awake, but what's in your vortex, which you are still calling a dream, is visualized by you. It's felt by you. It's known by you. You know it even though it hasn't come out to play to you. These thoughts have not yet turned to things where you and everyone else can see them, but they are real and they are unfolding, and they will come out and play with you where you will see them. There's power in this. But if you daydream a little and then you kill it with reality, and then you daydream a little and then you kill it with reality, and you daydream a little and then you contradict it with some other fact, then you're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and you're never allowing the true power of this to culminate into something that manifests. There are people in your world that are doing that. There are masters of science and masters of mathematics and masters of music and masters of all kinds of things. There are inventors of things. There are all kinds of people that have allowed these thoughts to turn to things in their mind, who have been willing to follow that non-resisted path, who have been willing, here it is, to pay the great big price of happiness. We know, we're being sarcastic, it's a lot to ask of you to want to feel good enough that you will isolate some thoughts and allow yourself to be that dreamer.